Hello and welcome to Game Report. Xbox revealed 24 minutes worth of new insight on the upcoming Call of Duty, officially titled Black Ops 6, during the annual Xbox Games Showcase. Since the event, I've spent every second analyzing it for hidden details and clues for more information following the Call of Duty Next event in August. I have broken this video down into 5 main sections: campaign, weapons, the HUD, multiplayer, and zombies, which are properly timestamped for you below. But I do highly suggest you watch the entire video to be fully informed. So without further ado, let's begin. The event starts with an exciting cinematic showing a team storming a large compound holding a mansion. We know from the reveal trailer Saddam Hussein will be a primary story point, likely being a villain since the game takes place during the Gulf War. Saddam Hussein was known to have many palaces around the areas he controlled. Most famously is the Al-Fa Palace, known as the Water Palace, which was surrounded by a man-made lake, hence how it got its name. This palace shown in the trailer, however, does not match directly any palaces owned by Hussein, but it does take many inspirations from them. You can see in this scene a very large statue at the center of the compound. This is the exact same statue Hussein built in Baghdad, down to the hat, belt, and gun on his hip. As we can see in this scene, this palace seems to be heavily inspired by the Water Palace based on the bridge access and being surrounded by water. On the right side of the screen, you can see an Iraq flag. This flag was used by Iraq from 1963 until January 13th of 1991, meaning this event takes place very early into the campaign, as the setting mainly takes place during spring of 1991. Or this could also be one of the 2 conflicts that took place in Al-Falah during Hassan's presidency, which both involved liberating the palace in the year 1986 and 1988. Next, we finally get to see Yelan Noel appearing in his role as Troy Marshall. Yelan is a drama actor known for his role as Daniel King in HBO's Insecure. We later learn more about Marshall, him being seen as a leader working alongside Woods and someone who can be trusted to keep their composure while on a job. Now, we get to the most significant information about the campaign. It starts with a wide shot of a building with 3 American flags. In this next scene, we can see a plaza from a different perspective with 3 different American flags. And most importantly, you can see the United States Capitol building in the background. Based on these landmarks, I could determine this is the Union Station Plaza in Washington, D.C. This is a multi-use building, primarily being used as a train station, but it also offers commercial storefronts and restaurants similar to a mall. But most importantly, it offers several event opportunities like we see here. In this shot, we can see a few more important details. Firstly, the inside of the Union Station Plaza, more specifically, this is the East Hall. We see Bill Clinton on stage with a projection behind him stating "Meet the Future." On the right side, we see the Union Station logo with the year 1991 above it. This is a private event, which we can tell here, likely celebrating Bill Clinton's nomination by the Democratic Party as their choice candidate for the election. Attendance of this event would be donors and influential people who have supported Clinton during his campaign, which could allow for interesting characters. However, this isn't the true reason our rogue Black Ops are here. It is also important to mention this event never happened in real life. So everything that occurs in this mission is purely fiction, allowing them to take it whichever direction they want. Here we can see Troy Marshall exiting an elevator. He is wearing the same outfit the guard on the roof was wearing in the previous scene. We also see the same logo for the Union Station Plaza, confirming this is the same mission. They are at the Midnight Branch, seemingly an undercover federal complex underneath the Union Station. We see the building has been attacked by the KGB, potentially the reason our team is here. We also see a seal on a large TV which states Special Air Unit, and to my knowledge there's no such thing as a Special Air Unit, except for in 1941 where a volunteer group was deemed a Special Air Unit, but this was disbanded in the early months of 1942, so I don't see a correlation. Obviously something like this wouldn't exist in real life, at least to our knowledge, of course. But it is important to let you know the station did go through an immense rehabilitation and redevelopment in 1983, which could play into the story. We see the building on fire, and I wanted to take a second to acknowledge how amazing the fire and lighting looks in this game. We see Adler on a motorcycle with the fire from the previous scene in the background. Those with a keen eye may have noticed this is the exact same dirt bike from Warzone 2, just with an American flag livery. They break through the door onto Massachusetts Boulevard, surrounded by police. We see Adler make his great escape cinematically, and he makes a hard right turn, followed by a horrific accident in front of a building with a glass walkway. And despite all my research, I could not find this location within Washington, D.C., which may suggest this is a different location, but they're trying to deceive the viewers. In the next scene, we see a convoy of trucks with a large oil well fire in the background. For those who don't know, the Iraqi military intentionally sabotaged any oil they found in Kuwait during their retreat in 1991. This included oil wells and lakes, with approximately 732 wells being set on fire in the process. One of the most praised aspects of Cold War was the safe house, making the story feel dynamic and making everything feel much more real. Black Ops 6 is only improving in this feature by making the safe house an entire manor in Germany. We will have full access to the building and the surrounding area, which appears to change as the story continues. It is explained that the building used to be a KGB black site. A black site is a form of a corrupt prison countries will use to torture individuals who are not found guilty of a crime. Many cases of black sites being used involve spies, informants, or whistleblowers. Interestingly, we can see a red door in the end of a long hallway. Could we see the manor potentially return as a zombies map in the future? In addition to the basement and workboard, there are many stations around the manor, like this one in the basement and this one here in the kitchen. We could see much more customization in this campaign than we ever have before. Not only is Iraq an important plot point in Black Ops 6, it appears our agents may be acting as vigilantes going after corrupt governments around the world. I say this due to the game featuring Vorkuta, a town in northern Russia which went through its own conflict during the same time. Late into 1991, Soviet Russia received one of the largest strikes the world has ever seen. Miners all around the country boycotted their working conditions and lack of pay, which was heavily affected in places like Vorkuta due to the town shutting down 13 of their mines. And the last location we get to see of the campaign is this American Atrium Hotel. It looks to be an underground facility with multiple American flags. However, if you look very closely at the elevator in the center, there is a seal that is in Russian. Could this be another staged American town like we saw in Cold War? Now, not only did we get important plot points and locations in the trailer, we got a sneak peek at some of the changes made to the HUD of the game. In this clip, we can see there is a health bar, but it is important to note that this person is playing in a development mode, so this could change in the future. But another big new feature that has been completely overlooked is the arrows next to these captions pointing to the person who is talking. This is a huge quality of life improvement. Also, in this same scene, we can see an inventory prompt similar to Warzone. It appears we may be getting an inventory in the campaign. And finally, at the very end of the presentation, it is confirmed hallucinations will be returning, though this really isn't a surprise since it's a Black Ops game. Call of Duty revealed over 20 weapons just in this event alone. And for context, Cold War released fully with only 30. Many of the guns we've seen are not new to the franchise. However, it was confirmed after the event that there will be 12 guns on launch that have never been in a Call of Duty before. The first gun we saw was the MP5, held by Troy Marshall, followed by this clip of an XM4, which you can clearly see the name of in the bottom right. We also see the XM4 again in this clip, but if you pay attention to the left, the teammate is holding an L85A1. Then the player switches to what appears to be a Dragunov, but I haven't been able to confirm that. The next clip we see is an RPG being used to blow up a helicopter, as well as what appears to be the RPD from Cold War on the table. While in Vorkuta, we see the player using an AK-74U. On the table, we see an M16 from Cold War, as well as an FAMAESAF, an SR3 Vickher, and a Beretta on the wall behind it. While showing off the Omni movement, the player is using a Galil. And in this scene, we get a better look at the LG85A1, as well as the first look at the C4. In this clip, the player is using a dead enemy as a shield while shooting the SG550. You can also see it again here. The player kills someone holding an AK-47 looking rifle, confirming it is in this game as well, but that's not really a big surprise. Here we can see a close-up of the Glock and a Beretta, but this is a modernized version of the gun, which kind of feels out of place in my opinion. Next we get a peek at the Hikate 2 sniper rifle, which does take 50 caliber rounds. The game also features the Walther PPK, known for its use by spies, including James Bond. One of the players in this clip is using a Jeopard PDW. And lastly, we get a great close-up at the AS Val making its return from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. And as an icing on the cake, we get to see the inspect animations for the Galil, the Hikate 2, and the knife. But that's not all, because we also got our first looks at multiple of the equipment available for the player in the game, including the return of the RCXD, a Black Ops staple at this point, the tranquilizer trap, the return of the stim shot, a new homing knife, and the return of the disruptor from Black Ops 4. We also saw a glimpse of the Tomahawk and the Bouncing Betty returning, but most interestingly, Treyarch showed an impact grenade. The impact grenade, though being very common in most games, is actually fairly new to the franchise and has only been used once before in Advanced Warfare. But for clarification, it has been used in campaigns, just not in multiplayer. Speaking of the RCXD, at the very end of the event, we see a closer look at the Streak in use. And I have to say, this is probably my favorite looking RCXD they've made. But if you look very closely on the right side of the car, you can see the Toyota logo. It is rare to see a real world logo in Call of Duty. So this could mean this is a potential branded partnership, and we could see more vehicles by Toyota in other places within the game. And finally, we actually did get our first look at Streaks with the cruise missile and the SAM turret returning. Black Ops 6 is offering the most customizable HUD design we have ever seen in Call of Duty. The showcase revealed a lot of insight into what's to come, but we also saw many secrets which Activision potentially didn't expect us to see. Firstly, in this clip, we see someone working at their desk. All of their monitors have been blurred except for this little logo on the top left that says Little Nightmares 2. This is a game not owned by Activision or even Microsoft, so including this is extremely out of place. This could be an upcoming partnership in Modern Warfare 3, or this could be a clue to another aspect of the game yet to be revealed. In this clip, we can see Adler in the iconic Black Ops pose. Obviously, this is not the cover art we know because Troy Marshall will be in that role, so what possibly could this be used for? If you look on the right side of the screen here, we can see two mini-maps, a circular one and a square one. It appears we might be able to choose what type of mini-map we want on our screen. Speaking of mini-maps, we got a great glimpse of the mini-map here. As you can see, there is now a compass at the top on all game modes. But most importantly, above the compass, you can see there are designated callouts on all maps for players to use. This will be a great addition for learning maps and being a valued teammate in ranked mode. And in the far back of this scene, you can see the loadout selection screen. This confirms the vertical setup layout is returning, mimicking the one from Black Ops 2. We also see perks are returning, and it appears you get 2 tacticals along with your lethal. But interestingly, there is another slot to the right of the pistol, and I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. Judging by the icon, maybe this could be a slot specifically for melees, but as of right now, it's unclear. We next got a glimpse at the UI of the game. The main screens will use Troy Marshall as the background character, but when you get into the multiplayer selection screen, we can see the operator will change to whichever you have selected. Under the UX section, we see some options including theater mode and private mode and rank play. Could this be confirming these will be offered day one? Here we get a larger look of the multiplayer UI, which takes many traits from older Treyarch titles, especially Black Ops 2, like players being on the right side, challenges being on the top left, match information being on the bottom left, and XP tokens being on the bottom right. Also, a cool detail here, When the match countdown begins, it takes the form of a Nix tube. Here we see a few important aspects of the UI. Firstly, we get a glimpse at the leaderboard here, which is very similar to the one in Cold War. But the biggest thing is finally the return of map voting like we got in Cold War as well. As you can see, you'll be able to choose between 3 maps rather than 2 maps and a random map like it used to be. Do you think random map voting should return? Let me know in the comments below. And the last glimpse we get of the UI is actually the return of Gunsmith. As you can see here, you will be able to choose from 8 attachments at a time, just like previous titles. We also see the return of detailed stats, but most interestingly, we see a new addition on the top right, which appears to be for tracking mastery. We see a medal with the word mastery and a number at the top. Now for the section you've all been waiting for. Multiplayer. And for them claiming we won't get much regarding multiplayer, there are a lot of hidden details that many are overlooking. A big controversy within Call of Duty is the removal of player cards in the game. I am happy to confirm player cards will be returning to the game both when you kill someone and when someone kills you. In this next clip, the character gets shot and he falls over, but their watch kind of lands perfectly in frame, revealing it says 090199. Could this potentially be a hidden message? Notice when the player kills this second enemy, rather than the points being added, it counts up, making it very satisfying. I could imagine this will make kill chains more dynamic and interesting. And here we see a player receive a medal, but for some reason they decided to blur it out. Could this be a hint there will be new medals rewarded to players that we haven't seen before? Also in this scene, you can see the end screen of a match. One team is titled Rogue Black Ops. However, I can't make out the enemy team, but this is confirming they are keeping 2 set teams. While everyone was focused on the UI in this scene, many overlooked the tabs at the top of the screen. The last tab says score streaks, confirming the game will feature score streaks rather than kill streaks. However, it has been rumored that the score streak system will mimic the one from Black Ops 2 that benefits people who hold objectives as well as players who go for kills, and a system designed for everyone to win. If you look closely when the player falls over here, he drops a yellow pouch of some sort. It seems to be very solid, and it isn't a typical equipment you'd see in the game. My guess is this is either the bomb from Search and Destroy, or this is maybe a drop from the scavenger perk. Now, pay attention to the right side of the screen. When a player gets a kill, a perk appears with 3 buffs: movement speed, attack sprint speed, and quick regen. This seems to be a new perk to the game, and I'm gonna guess it's called something like Rage. Watch as this player slides on the glass. When he stops sliding, he actually presses his feet onto the glass realistically. People are very hesitant of the new Omni movement diving. However, watch as this player lands after they die. They make a very dramatic landing which causes their head to fly back and their gun to become off-centered. It's likely when the player lands, they will have a debuff to balance the fast movement. Another complaint the community has with multiplayer is the overuse of doors, which allows players to hide and camp. In Cold War, the doors would only need to be shot once for them to fully open. On the second monitor, we can see the return of Black Ops 4 Best Play. Best Play is a controversial feature in Call of Duty. However, it is confirmed that certain modes will feature Final Kill like Search and Destroy. Here on the left side of the screen, we see 5 empty slots. I think these actually might be Jester slots, which are rumored to be returning. Now let's take a second and look at this segment of the stream, which goes over the 3 separate playstyles in Black Ops 6.
We focused on supporting 3 core playstyles for launch. Enforcers are the slayers who like to kill and stay on the move. Recon is all about intel and counter-intel play. And strategists are support players who throw their bodies at objectives for the win, or focus on taking out enemy score streaks for the team.
Enforcers, recon, and strategists. People who go for kills, people who go for flanks, or people that go for the objective. All of you watching will align yourself with one or more of these, and you definitely will know people who align with the others. Now let's compare this with the 3 playstyles Modern Warfare 2 based their game on.
And we just put them into 3 big groups. We call them rushers, which are just aggressive players. They just want to find the action and go. And then we have sentinels, and these are defensive players. They want to just kind of hold down a building, maybe keep a Overwatch. And then we have stalkers, which are reactive, and they kind of hang back and try to read the field and read where spawns are.
Rushers, sentinels, and stalkers. Even the names of them are bad, especially when they made Modern Warfare 2 for people who only want to run around aimlessly or sit in one corner the entire match. In both cases, completely ignoring the objective, and they wondered why their game wasn't fun. Now let's segue over to the maps. Firstly, we do see a great amount of this map featuring an overground train yard. However, there is nothing I could find relating to hidden details of the map, including its name currently unknown. But we also see a lot of this map titled Rewind. We know this thanks to this clip here of someone loading into that map. This map is an outlet mall featuring multiple stores, including a video rental store, which you can see here, and a fast food chain called Freedom Chicken, which you can see the sign of here. We can also see pictures of the interior of Freedom Chicken here, which honestly greatly reminds me of Burger Shot from GTA 4. Here we can also see the bird's eye view of the map, showing roughly how the 3 lanes of this map will work. The last hidden detail of maps we see is this top-down view of the map called Skyline, the mansion-looking map from before. This map does look very large. However, judging by this scene, we can see the rough play space is about here. It is still very vertical and will probably feel very large when playing. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of details regarding zombies, so this isn't going to be a very long section like I'd like it to. But the first hidden detail is actually back in the multiplayer map Rewind. If you look on the top left, you see a billboard that says "Welcome to Liberty Falls." This is the second map in the Black Ops 6 Zombies yet to be revealed. It appears Liberty Falls will be a larger map than Rewind, but Rewind will likely be the starting point for the map. We do see the shopping center does have a main road connecting it, which doesn't seem to have much in the surrounding area. So could this potentially mean we could see the return of a transit-like transportation system? In this section, we see Kevin Drew sitting on a couch with a small table next to him. On that table, we see a jar of gobblegums. Under that is a book that says, "Thank you for your feedback," which is a book about learning how to take harsh feedback and turning it into a conversation for a better outcome. Under that, we see a book with the Black Ops 3 cover on the front. This is clearly a hidden message to the fans, letting us know they are returning back to the gameplay loop of Black Ops 3 Zombies. And lastly, we got the grand reveal of Terminus, a map set in the Pacific region, which appears to be a military outpost during World War II. We can tell this due to the large turret in the center and the types of vegetation on the island. While we have no information on the plot of the map, we do get a hint from the name of the map, Terminus, meaning an extreme endpoint. This may be the turning point in the Dark Aether story, with likely many secrets to be revealed in the map. And that concludes my deep dive on the Call of Duty Direct event. What detail has you most excited for Black Ops 6, and what are your thoughts of the game so far? Let me know in the comments below.